Hello everybody, welcome back to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and today we're going to be doing a very quick recap of day one of phase one of the Montreal Major for Rainbow Six Siege. So we saw 4 games, all best of 3s. There are 6 more to be played out, so no teams have yet been eliminated, no teams have yet advanced into phase number 2, but tomorrow all of that will be happening. 4 will go home and 4 will advance. So let's talk about what happened today. Black Dragons up against CL4L. This went about how I expected. I think CL4L maybe even looked better than I thought they would. 7-4 victory for Black Dragons on Consulate. They were certainly the better team here. Then they go to Chalet and CL, a lot better of a team. They could have even won 7-1, 7-2, but they let a few rounds slip. It ends up being a 7-3, still a dominant victory. And then we go to Nighthaven Labs, and once again, Black Dragons, just the better team. Very close in the first half. It goes 3-3, but CL4L just cannot attack on this map to save themselves. 4 defense wins in a row for Black Dragons closes it out. And I'd say the standouts for CL4L were probably Packer and Uzi, who you see is the MVP of map number 2 here. Packer was pretty solid on map 1 and map 2. I think he really fell off in map 3. And Uzi, he went about even on kills overall, but he was pretty impressive on the entry, going, I think, 8-3. Over on Black Dragons, Ask, clearly the standout here, being the MVP of maps 1 and 3, but Hornetow was almost just as good, just not quite as flashy as Ask was. Then in the next game, G2 up against Cyclops. This ended up being a lot closer and a lot scarier than I thought. I figured maybe it would go map 3, but I didn't figure that G2 was going to sort of have their backs against the wall. They get stomped on bank by Cyclops, and sort of similar to what we just saw with CL4L, where it's a very close first half, but then 4 rounds in a row for Cyclops in the second half results in them winning at 7-3. Then we go to Cafe, and 4-2 lead for Cyclops on their defensive half, but G2 managed to put 5 defenses together, and they close out the map 7-5, no overtime, and then G2 just stomped them on Consulate. So it worked out well for them. I guess Cyclops, maybe they're just really good on bank, and G2 underestimated them, but this does happen a lot with Cyclops. Historically, they come out of the gates pretty hot. Teams maybe aren't quite ready for them, but they get them figured out, and in the past, the beginning of majors were always best of 1, so Cyclops would end up with some wins. This time around, they don't get a win. I mean, we'll see what happens against CL4L, but for now, yeah, Cyclops knocked down to the lower bracket. True Reap was going insane, dropping either 20 or 21 kills. It said 21 in game, but then after the fact, they said 20, so I don't know if there was some sort of counting error, but True Reap went nuts on the first map. Alamau really, really good on the second map, and then Blaz good on the third map. Alamau was certainly the MVP of the series overall. By the end of things, Shureep had disappeared, only dropping like 2 kills in all of Consulate. Third map, we have Alpha Team versus Falcons, and in a sense, this ended up being closer than I expected. I really thought it would be a 2-0. Falcons destroy them on Bank and destroy them on Nighthaven Labs. Somehow they just lost Cafe 8-7, so as close as it can possibly be. And Falcons even got a pretty good lead, 4-2 on their defensive half. I suppose Cafe generally a defender-sided map, but then Alpha Team matches it, and then in overtime, yeah, all 15 rounds required just to go to Nighthaven Labs, and 7 rounds for Falcons. And they won 6 in a row on Bank, and then clearly they won 7 in a row on Nighthaven Labs to close it out. And the standouts were Hisham, certainly in maps 1 and 3, but he was really bad in map 2. I guess that maybe was the main reason they weren't able to close it out. Their star player sort of disappeared. And I think overall, Dovahkiin might have been better than Hisham just because of how bad Hisham was in map number 2. Dovahkiin, I want to say, had a higher rating overall, and one of the other Falcons players was pretty good as well. I think Robbie was also quite good. Falcons stomped Alpha Team in a sense, but I mean, at least they got the one map. And then final matchup, Chiefs versus Fear X. And to my surprise, this is the only one that didn't go all 3 maps. In my mind, this felt like the hardest one to call, but it actually ended up being the least close one. And I suppose in a sense, this was still the least close one. Like Falcons, they went plus 12, I think, on round differential, whereas here at least it's only plus 6, but a 2-0 versus a 3-0 is still a marked difference. And Jigsaw and Tech, certainly the MVP throughout the series. They were the top 2 players for Chiefs in both maps. So Jigsaw MVP map 1 with Tech just behind, and then vice versa on map number 2. And this one, like we saw in some of the other maps, it started off pretty close, 3-3 half, and then Chiefs didn't run away with it quite as heavily as we saw previously. Ends up being a 7-4, but still only the 1 round for Vurex here. And then it looked like it was going to be maybe even a 7-0 from Chiefs on Skyscrapers because they get 5 attacking rounds. I don't remember which round it was that they initially lost, but it looked like it was going to be a complete stomp because it's very hard to win attacks on Skyscraper, but then Fear X actually wins several, so this ended up being a very attacker-sided Skyscraper. Quite curious, but yeah, those are the results. I did predict all of these to happen. I feel like it wasn't too challenging to predict these. I don't think any of these were upsets. I think these were all the expected results, so nothing too crazy here. So as far as my predictions go, everything is still very possible. In order for me to get the full 8 points, I need G2 to win here. I need Chiefs to win here, unless you went with my original predictions before I updated it, in which case you would need Falcons to win here if you copy that. I need CL4L to win here and then also here up against, I guess it would, Falcons or Chiefs, and then need Fear X to win here and then for Black Dragons to win here. And I guess technically it doesn't matter who wins here as long as Black Dragons wins here, but Alpha Team, it's very unlikely they're going to be able to win a series. Yeah, that's everything that happened in day number 1. I will probably have another recap for you tomorrow.